Hello everybody, how's it going? My name's Ben, I'm a music producer and audio engineer. Today I'm going to show you my Ableton session for the song I mastered by this guy Gabryl, Gabryl. Check him out on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you stream. He's great, let's get into it. So that's the song we're working with, and it's such a great mix that I didn't have to do a whole lot, which is important to not break the mix by giving it something it doesn't need. But I thought it needed a little bit of EQ, so I used the Ableton EQ8, have oversampling on. I'll expand it out right here. I made a couple of adjustments. It's in mid-side mode right now. In the mid, I ducked around 1.5 kilohertz to take out some of those mid, like old radio sounding frequencies. I'll give you a peek on what that sounds like. So you can see that's sort of something that I didn't want to pop through that much in the track, so I just dunked it like 1.5 decibels. The other move that I made, probably the biggest one, was right here, 2.3 decibels up at 2.7 kilohertz. I just thought this highlighted some of his vocals, some frequencies in the vocals that I just wanted to pop out a little bit. It sounds like this.
Trying to think of all the times and places I went wrong. Perform an operation hard on a location not too far.
So that's what we did there. I boosted the lows below 1K to bring out the sort of lower frequencies in his voice and the bass and the lower side of the drums. I just thought it could use a little bit more of that oomph. And then on the sides, I just brought up the highs a little bit. Now, don't get mad at me. I did use some ozone. I didn't use the Master Assistant. I just used some of the plugins in here independently. I really like how the stereo imager sounds and the widening. I mean, it's important to not overuse it, but I thought this track could use a little bit more width. I achieved some of that by using the just boosting the highs on the side with the mid-side EQ8. But I did a little bit more just by widening like that. I'm going to show you the before and after. So this is before.
Trying to think of all the times and places I went wrong. Perform an operation hard on a location not too far.
So very subtle difference, but I feel like it creates a little bit more space, and I really like that. Then, of course, we got the maximizer. I love the Ozone Maximizer. What can I say? It works well, it sounds great, and it's inexpensive, so I'm a fan. You can choose between IRC 1 and 2. The difference that I notice is that with IRC 1, I feel like the kick drum and the beats really in my like temple area, sort of like through my brain, and then the IRC 2, I feel more in like my jaw. You know, I don't know if that's kind of a weird way of explaining it, like where I feel it in my head, but I think that's as clear as I can make it. I'll show you the differences.
Trying to think of all the times and places I went wrong. Perform an operation hard on a location not too far.
Yeah, so that's what we got in Ozone. I have this cool Max for Live plugin called Swiss Army Meter. It just tells me, sort of everything I need to know about the metering. It's not super visual, which is kind of annoying, so I'm definitely working on finding something that is a little bit more visual, but it at least tells me the LUFS and the integrated LUFS and the RMS and things like that, which is sort of, really all I need right now. Trying to keep it around -14 decibels LUFS. I'd say it varies between like -12 and -16, which is sort of where you want to have it. And then I have Span open. Span's really cool. It's free. And it's great. And what I do with Span, this is a little bit tricky, but I want to be able to see both my reference track and the track that I'm working on within Span. But it's hard to do that in Ableton because if I were to route the reference directly into Span, then it wouldn't be playing through the master and I couldn't hear it. So what I do instead is I have a send, and I send the reference track to the send, or to the return rather, and then have that routed to Span, And then we have underlaid, and you go into the routing and sort of select the proper things over there. Maybe I'll make a more in-depth tutorial because I've been struggling with that. Can't really find any great tutorials on YouTube of how to do this in Ableton. So let me know if you want to, see. But doing it this way, you can see both tracks in the frequency spectrum. Now, these aren't perfectly gain matched, but you can at least see sort of where the peaks and valleys are, and I use that a little bit to control the EQ. So I'll show you before it's gain stage, and I'll show you after. So this is the original track, and then the master track. And now I'm going to show it to you gain stage, the original track. So as you can hear, the original track, even though it's technically the same volume right now as the final mix, it sounds a little bit quieter. Listen. And so yeah, that's pretty much all I had to do with this song since it was so great already. I didn't need to use any sort of heavy compression or any saturation. I thought Gabryl did a great job. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please check out my website, rosewaterrecording.com, where you can get a free mastered sample of any song you'd like. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.